People who've lived out in the country long enough will tell you storms don't just arrive, they build. You feel them before you see them. The air gets thick, like you're breathing through something you can't quite name. Birds go quiet, dogs start acting strange, and sometimes something else comes with it. I didn't believe any of that until the night it happened. It was late summer, the kind of evening where the heat sticks to you even after the sun goes down. I was staying out at my uncle's old farmhouse while he was in the hospital. Somebody had to keep an eye on the place, make sure pipes didn't burst, make sure no one come snooping around. The house sat by itself off a long dirt road with nothing but woods and fields for miles. No neighbors close enough to walk to, no street lights, just darkness once the sun dropped. I remember checking the weather on my phone before it lost signal. Thunderstorms rolling in around midnight. Nothing unusual. Happens all the time out there. But around 10 o'clock, things already felt off. The wind hadn't picked up yet, but the trees were moving anyway. Not swaying, twitching, like something was brushing past them. The air had that heavy metallic smell. You know the one, like rain and iron. I stepped out onto the porch to take a look at the sky. Clouds were building fast, big ones, dark enough to blot out what little moonlight there was. Every now and then, a flicker of lightning lit them up from the inside, like something alive moving behind them. That's when I heard the first knock. It came from behind me, 3 slow knocks. Knock, knock, knock. I turned around, expecting to see someone at the door, but the door was right there in front of me, closed, still. There was no one on the porch. No footsteps on the wood, no shadow moving away, just silence. I stood there for a second, waiting for something else. Another sound, a voice, anything. Nothing came. I told myself it was the house settling. Old wood makes noise. Everyone knows that. Especially in a place that's been standing for as long as this one had. Still, those knocks had been too clean, too deliberate. I went back inside and locked the door anyway, just in case. The inside of the house felt different after that. Quieter than it should have been. Even the old refrigerator hum seemed lower, like it was trying not to be heard. I turned on the TV more for the noise than anything else. Static channels mostly. The storm must have been interfering with the signal. Every now and then the screen would flicker, and for a split second I thought I saw shapes in the distortion. Faces maybe. Or just my imagination trying to fill in the gaps. Around 10:30 the power flickered. Once. Twice. Then steadied. Then when that second knock came this time, it wasn't behind me. It came from the front door. 3 knocks again. Knock. 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 Louder this time. Harder. I froze where I was sitting. There was no reason for anyone to be out there. No cars had come down the road. I should have heard them. Gravel carries sound. I stood up slowly and walked toward the door. "Hello?" I called out. No answer. I got close enough to see the handle. It was moving. Not turning, just trembling. Like something on the other side was resting a hand on it, testing it. My stomach dropped. I reached for the lock, even though I knew I'd secured it. Before I could touch it, the knocking started again, right in front of me. Knock, knock, knock. The sound vibrated through the wood, into my chest. Too precise, too steady. I stepped back. "Who's there?" I said. Still nothing. No breathing, no footsteps, no shifting weight on the porch. Just the storm building in the distance and that awful silence in between. I don't know why I did it, but I leaned forward and looked through the peephole. There was no one there, just the empty porch and the darkness beyond it. And then lightning flashed. For a split second, the yard lit up. I saw something standing on the edge of the tree line. Tall. Too tall. Not moving. Watching. The light disappeared just as fast as it came, plunging everything back into black. I stumbled back from the door. Nope, I said out loud, like that was enough to make it all stop. I backed away into the living room and grabbed the nearest thing I could use as a weapon. A fireplace poker leaned against the wall. The wind finally picked up outside. You could hear it pushing through the trees now, low and steady. And then came the third knock. Not on the door, behind me, from the hallway. 3 knocks. Knock, knock, knock. Every hair on my arm stood up. There was no one else in that house. I knew it. I had checked every room when I got there. Closets, bathroom, attic access, all empty. But that sound, it came from inside. Slowly I turned around. The hallway was dark, the single overhead bulb flickering like it couldn't decide whether to stay on or not. At the far end was a closed door, a spare bedroom. I had checked in there. The knocking came again from that door 3 times. Knock, knock, knock. I didn't want to move. Every instinct I had told me to leave the house, get in the truck, drive until the road turned into something with lights and people and noise. But the storm was already hitting now. Rain started slamming against the roof, loud enough to drown out everything else, except the knocking. It came again, closer this time, like it wasn't just behind the door anymore, like it was on the other side of the wall. Then the light went out, pitch black. For a moment, there was nothing but the storm. Wind, rain, thunder, and then a whisper. Right next to me, in my ear. Let me in. I swung my poker blindly and stumbled backward, slamming into the wall. My heart was beating so hard I could barely hear anything else. The lights flickered back on. The hallway was empty. The door at the end stood wide open. I didn't wait to see what was inside. I ran, grabbed my keys, yanked the front door open, and bolted into the storm. Rain soaked me instantly, but I didn't care. I sprinted to the truck, fumbled for the lock, and threw myself inside. As I started the engine, I glanced back at the house. Lightning flashed again, and there it was, standing in the doorway now. That same tall shape I'd seen in the trees, except this time, it was closer. Much closer, and I could see its face, or where its face should have been. There was nothing there, just darkness, but I could feel it looking at me. The engine roared to life, and I didn't waste another second. I threw the truck into gear, tires spinning in the mud before catching, and tore down the dirt road as fast as I could. I didn't look back again. I didn't go back to that house either. My uncle passed away a week later. They sold the property not long after. Nobody stayed there long. That's what I heard anyway. Storms still roll through that area every summer, and every now and then, if you talk to the right people, they'll tell you about the knocking. Always 3 times, always before the storm. And if you hear it more than once, you better not answer.